it's not just about their physical development, it's about their brain.
Yes. It's all about their brain, I could argue. Yeah.
Welcome to the Be Well Baby podcast. I'm Dr. Emily Spaeth. I'm the founder of Be Well Baby here in Portland, Oregon, and the creator of the Beyond Birth Blueprint, where we support families all over the world. This podcast exists because pregnancy, birth, and postpartum care in this country are fragmented, rushed, and often missing the whole picture. And I believe families deserve better. Here, we talk about bodies, babies, nervous systems, feeding, recovery, and real life through a grounded, trauma-informed lens. And just a quick loving note before we dive in, everything you hear on this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. It's not medical advice. It's not a substitute for care from your own team. Every body and every baby and every season is different, and you deserve support that is personalized to you. If something feels concerning or urgent, please reach out to your healthcare team right away. All right, let's get into today's episode. I'm really excited about today's episode because I say some of these things on a daily, moment-by-moment basis to almost every family that I work with. And I'm so excited for you to hear it because it means that you will have this knowledge and you will be able to tell your friends and family about it. I'm joined by Keri Kamryn Skjei, an infant physical therapist on the Be Well Baby team. It's a very special episode because I get to talk to her about the things that we see every day with the families that we work with. And if you've had a home visit with Keri, you already know how incredible she is. She has this grounding, calm presence and a real gift for meeting families exactly where they are with very, very little pressure. We'll get into Keri's path to working with babies. We touch on how feeding and motor development are more connected than most people realize. And then we spend a ton of time on something that comes up in almost every conversation that we have: containers. Car seats, bouncers, swings, walkers, strollers, all the stuff that you registered for or your in-laws bought you for Christmas. We'll talk about what's actually helpful, what's not helpful, and how to use these things in a way that supports your baby's development instead of getting in the way of it. And we dig into tummy time, when to start, what to look for, and what to do if your baby seems to hate it. And at the beginning there, you'll hear us giggling because we got to record this episode in the same room. So we had all kinds of interruptions that were just cracking us up, and it was just really fun. So enjoy. Keri, welcome to the podcast.
Hi.
Hi.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so glad you're here.
Me too.
What I would love to start with is how you came to work.
Oh. My mom.
Mom, I'm recording a podcast.
I know. Gosh, Mom.
Gosh, Mom.
Stop calling me.
So I would love to start with how you came to work with babies.
Yeah. Okay. I always had an interest in either pelvic floor or pediatrics. And so I had a rotation in pediatrics, which was wonderful. I loved it.
That's so funny. We have the exact same kind of trajectory.
Okay.
I think I knew that at one point, but
Yeah.
hearing it now, I'm like, whoa, it's really similar.
Yeah.
I also believed I would be in pelvic floor or babies.
Yeah.
And now we're in both.
Yeah. I've always loved babies, and I've always loved pregnancy and pregnant people and just that whole realm, which is why I think I gravitated towards you. But anyways, I did not have the opportunity to do a pelvic floor rotation in PT school, because it just wasn't really set up then. And so when I moved here after graduating to Oregon, I got a job in pelvic floor because it was supposed to be with mentorship and kind of learning that. But this was in 2019. And it was also just an outpatient facility too. So it was kind of like a whole gamut of things and a lot of outpatient. And so I didn't feel like I got the mentorship support that I wanted being a new grad. And then the pandemic happened. And
that timing is brutal.
Yeah, it was a brutal timing. And I only stayed on working 1 day a week because I was the only one who had an interest in doing pediatrics, and they did pediatric pelvic floor.
Wow.
So I was kind of just thrown into it, which was great. I learned a lot, and I, did different courses to learn more. But I did that during the pandemic. But through that, I realized I wanted to go back to pediatrics. So then that led me to outpatient. And then through working pediatrics, I really grew a fondness for the babies in particular. I do like all ages. But 0 to 3 is my kind of sweet spot. And then now the babies. But having my own children is what really brought me to really wanting to treat babies. And I am loving learning more about feeding and doing that because I had my own struggles with my own children. So
yeah, the intersection between physical therapy and feeding is so interesting, and I think it's rather new in our field. And what's amazing is back in 2024, when I attended the American Academy of Pediatric Physical Therapy conference, there were so many talks on breastfeeding and physical therapy. There were a handful of us physical therapists who were either also lactation consultants or really interested in feeding. And it's just a really incredible part of our field that's growing. And then this past year in 2025, I presented on infant massage for improving breastfeeding outcomes, which I think just a few years ago would have been an absolute no at that conference. So I'm really proud of our field for wanting to move forward and understanding that breastfeeding especially is a functional activity.
Yeah,
That's what we treat.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just, I don't know, until I went through it, I didn't really understand how much it's all so related to all development as well. We're just talking feeding, but it ties into so many other aspects of a growing human. And so that's why I love doing what I'm doing and love learning from what I'm learning. Yeah.
We should tell listeners too that you happen to be a physical therapist at Be Well Baby.
Yes. Oh yeah. I happen to be a physical therapist at Be Well Baby, which has been wonderful. So,
well, I love having you and I'm so excited for just the future and understanding how we're all going to continue growing and learning together.
Yeah.
So today I was really hoping that we could talk about containers.
Okay.
And I think that with the capitalism,
Yeah. Agreed.
There is this opportunity to tell families that they really need a bunch of stuff for their baby.
Yes, everything is catered for. This will enhance development. This will make your baby smarter, stronger, all those kind of gimmicks.
And ultimately, as physical therapists, that's not really true.
No.
So what is the ideal position for a baby to enhance their development and that's safe for their hips and that's going to make them stronger?
The ideal position is on the floor.
Great.
Yeah.
I love the floor. It's free.
Yeah, because the floor is where you get to really explore your body and figure out things without being contained. And that's how we learn how to move. Yeah.
And gravity is doing its whole...
That's the strengthening is gravity.
Right.
To lift your head up against gravity is hard. And that's where we learn it, when you have to be against it.
Yeah. When we think about babies' head control,
Okay.
I know that most people who have a newborn know that they're supposed to support their baby's head.
Yes.
Right. So when can we expect a baby to be able to hold their head up by themselves?
I mean, really, we should expect that by 2 months for sure. Sometimes it's earlier, but around 2 months is really where you should see them being able to functionally kind of support their own head.
And what's the best place for a baby who maybe is 6 weeks old and their parents are noticing that they seem like they're still really requiring a ton of support? what should that baby do?
Yeah, the answer is on the floor with tummy time. I mean, and some babies might need a different variation of tummy time initially, but ideally the best way to do tummy time is on the floor.
Let's talk about tummy time for just a couple minutes, because I think there's this, parents are told about tummy time.
Yeah.
Right? And I think a lot of us understand that when we were babies, our parents just put us to sleep on our tummies, and that's not recommended anymore.
Right.
Now, that being said, a lot of babies are not getting enough time on their bellies. So can we talk a little bit about what tummy time is, maybe even the best way to get a baby into tummy time? And then what should parents be looking for in tummy time?
Oh, good questions. Tummy time is just when your baby is allowed to be on the floor on their tummy. That being said, there are variations where they're in different positions on laying flat perpendicular to the floor surface. So they're working on bringing their head up against gravity.
So basically what you're saying is ideally your baby is on their tummy on the floor.
Yeah.
However, if you are holding your baby on their tummy, that is also working the same muscles.
Exactly.
Somewhat.
Because you're still against gravity. It's not the ideal position, but at least you're still helping to facilitate working that. Another way to do that is just across your lap. Again, not the ideal position, but it's a great place, especially if you have older kiddos, to hold your baby and them work on those skills.
Yeah. Why, especially when you have older kiddos?
There's this fear that the older ones are going to trample the little one and just be in their space. So sometimes it feels unsafe to put them on the floor. And if that's this scenario, I want to help find different ways that we can facilitate that and still help work on your baby's skills.
Yeah.
And on your lap is a good place because then they can also see the older kiddos and observe, and that's giving them something to lift up into.
Amazing. Yeah. I would imagine that families are also worried about pets.
Yes, pets too. I would say playpens are not just for like containing your baby. Sometimes it's for keeping things out as well.
I love that.
Sometimes it's just to keep pets out or older kids out so that your baby has a safe place on the floor.
And they can be useful forever. I actually used to put my 5-year-old in a playpen with her desk and her drawing stuff so that the toddler wouldn't get her.
Exactly. And I've seen things on social media of like parents using it to have a moment of peace. So, there's so many uses for a playpen.
That's funny.
And you can put it outside too, which is great.
So we're talking about different ways to do tummy time. I'm hearing that ideally baby is on their tummy on the floor.
Ideally, yes.
And that there are a few other ways that you can do tummy time if your baby is struggling or if you are struggling with getting your baby onto the floor.
Yes.
When should people start doing tummy time?
Right away. You can start right away. And then the first few weeks, it's okay if it looks more just like on chest.
Skin to skin.
Skin to skin is the best. That is my favorite way, especially in the beginning weeks, because you're also helping with regulation and it makes them feel safer. But I also love chest to chest because you can alternate the angle. You can make it a little bit harder. You can make it a little bit easier.
I love that.
Especially even the little bit older, if they haven't had a lot of tummy time, sometimes I'll start there and say, try laying flat with them on you flat. So they're working a little bit more against gravity, but still have the comfort of you. So.
Yeah, I love that. Those are all really good pointers for families who are maybe listening to this with a 4-month-old who isn't yet rolling and they're wondering why, and they have maybe not been doing as much tummy time. And I also have to say this, every baby is so different. There are some babies who are just gross motor babies.
Yeah.
And gross motor in a PT language is like those big body movement skills, like rolling and sitting and standing.
Yeah, they just get it. It clicks.
They just get it. And those are typically the more coordinated babies, the babies who are pretty strong and pretty robust and have very typical muscle tone. I want to talk a little bit about muscle tone because I'm going to talk about it. And so I'd like to explain for those of you listening what I'm talking about. There is this normal state of being that your muscles are in when you're born. And it's just the way that your brain is sending signals to your muscles. Now, there is a spectrum of this that goes from low muscle tone to high muscle tone. And low muscle tone that's really, really low can be problematic and might be a clinical diagnosis that leads to other diagnoses. High muscle tone that is really, really, really high, same thing. But all of us land somewhere on the spectrum of muscle tone. And some babies just have a little bit lower muscle tone or a little bit higher muscle tone. And the low muscle tone babies are going to be a little floppier and have a harder time lifting up their head in tummy time. And the high muscle tone babies might roll at 2 weeks old because they're extending through their spine so much they just fall over from their tummy. You've seen this.
Yes.
Families say, my baby rolled.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very common, I hear, where it's like, my baby used to roll from tummy to back and now they're not doing it anymore. And usually it's one, because of that. Also, it's gravity assisted typically and not a true learned skill.
Hey, I just wanted to pop in here to see if you're enjoying the show. To the 7 people who have left me 5-star reviews, I am in awe and so grateful for you. So grateful. I know it takes a minute to actually click out of here and leave a review and figure out what you want to say. And the compliments on my voice were so unexpected and honestly the kindest thing that I could ever hope for. So, my voice aside, if I am helping you in any way, know that my mission is to get this information to as many families as possible. And that means I need a shit ton of reviews. So quick, pause me, leave a review, and then we'll get back to the show. Thank you in advance for your time. So as a reminder, those questions were, what is tummy time, which we've gotten to.
Yes.
The second one was, what's the best way to get a baby into tummy time? And then the third one was, what should parents be looking for in tummy time?
Right.
So the reason that I wanted to tell our listeners about muscle tone is that one of the primary reasons that I see babies who quote unquote hate tummy time, according to the parents, those are babies with lower muscle tone. And so it's much harder for them to lift their heads up on their tummies.
Yes.
So getting back to our questions, what is the best way to get a baby into tummy time? Like you're holding your baby on your chest, sweet little newborn, but you're like, Emily and Keri told me to put my baby on the floor, so I'm going to do it. What should they do?
Great question. And the best way I find is to lay them on their back gently, however you like to do that. And then I like to guide them into tummy time by helping them like roll them over their side onto their tummy. It can be really jarring, especially for those babies who don't like tummy time, to just be placed on their tummy. So actually any age, I usually like to do it through a transition. So rolling from back onto tummy, because it also kind of helps get them accustomed to that's what they'll be doing.
I also love doing that because it really helps to create a motor plan, like a pathway in their brain of this is how my body moves from point A to point B, so that when they do have the strength and the decision-making power to do that themselves, the pathway is already there.
Exactly. Yep. It's just laying down the foundation is what I like to say.
I love that. And another thing I like to think about, especially when putting a baby down who maybe has a more activated nervous system, and you might notice this as a parent, as your baby who startles a lot. So from a PT perspective, that's that Moro reflex where the hands come out, and it usually happens if a baby is tipped backwards and sometimes even very slowly, and they'll startle.
Yep.
So if you have a baby who does startle easily, I like to put them down booty first.
Yes.
and then slowly bring the rest of their back down. And I try to keep them up against my chest as long as possible, maybe even to the point where they're against my chest, their booty's on the ground, and I'm in a real awkward position.
Yes. I was just going to say, don't be afraid to get awkward with your body for a minute to do that, because that is the best way.
Yeah.
So just slowly lower them.
Yeah. And especially with hospital transfers, this is one of the big things that I would teach families in the neonatal ICU, because that position of having your baby on your chest and then their back also supported by the surface underneath them, it really helps them feel safe and stay regulated.
Yeah. And I just feel like I have to say this in this point too, that's also a great way to put your baby down for rest too. Napping and sleeping. Put booty down first. That way you're not initiating that reflex. I just feel like I had to say that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's a
because
good tip.
every pro tip.
Yeah.
Every parent is wondering, how do I get my baby to stop startling?
Yeah.
And I mean, we could do a whole episode on this, but so many parents will continue to swaddle because of this startle reflex.
Right.
And there's so much that we could say about that.
There's so much, and there's other things you could do, but that's another topic.
We will have another episode on reflexes. So that's how to get your baby into tummy time. You'll roll them gently onto their tummy. You'll go really slow. You'll be there the whole time. You're not going to just stick your baby on their tummy and walk away.
Yeah, the social interaction is a huge component, especially in the beginning days of tummy time and being on the floor. Like, don't be afraid to be down there with your baby and be silly and communicate with them, because that's how they're learning.
Yeah. So now let's get into, what should parents be looking for at each stage of tummy time? And I realize this is a complicated question because it's very different from our perspective, week over week in development. Like even between a 36 weeker versus a 38 weeker, I want to see different things. And I'm just talking about babies who are premature, and that's not even what we're talking about. So.
Yeah. But yeah, exactly. There's just so many different steps along the path of tummy time, but we could kind of say in general.
Sure. So what would a parent of a fresh newborn who listens to this when they were pregnant and is feeling very motivated to get their baby into tummy time in the first week or so of their baby's life, what would they expect to see their baby do?
You would still expect to see your baby kind of be in that flexed position, that physiological flexion on their tummy. So they might still look that way or not, but I see that often.
And so what that looks like is elbows
bent, knees bent under them,
and hips bent.
Yeah.
And you do not need to straighten out your baby's hips.
No, they will work that out most of the time. And then really what I'm looking for is, are they able to clear their airway? Because they should be able to. So they should be able to rest their cheek down on the floor and then be able to lift it up a little bit and re-rest it down so they're not just face planting. That's what I'm looking for.
So if your baby it's generally you'll see one ear down and then hopefully your baby will kind of come to the middle and then other ear down.
Yes.
Be able to turn their head by themselves on their tummy right away.
Yeah, right away. Yeah. And it might not be a huge lift, but just enough so that they can turn.
So then by around a month old, what would we be looking for as a little more progress?
Less hip flexion, less knee flexion, and then also being able to actually lift the head up a little bit more in extension and still turn and rest down.
Maybe even hold their head up.
Yeah, I was going to say even hold their head up for a second or two for sure, and being able to kind of engage those shoulders a little bit.
And then by 2 months, this is where their head control should be pretty good.
Yeah, this is where they should be able to actually hold it up for seconds at a time, if not longer, and kind of look around a little bit more. They should be able to look both directions is a big one to look for.
I love contrast cards at this point.
Yeah, and also I think this is such a simple thing, but I find sometimes we as parents, we're so busy we forget it. But just placing the objects up a little bit rather than straight down on the floor, this is a great time to start doing that because it actually encourages them to look upwards more.
Yeah.
That's why the contrast cars are great. Mirrors, you could do mirrors now, but
You could. Some babies are interested, some are not.
Yeah.
But they're very interested in your face.
Yes, and that's my favorite. So if you can get on your tummy, facing your baby on their tummy, that's going to be amazing.
What if your 2-month-old is not lifting their head up at all?
I would want to know why. And that's when I would reach out to a professional, whether it's us or someone else. But by 2 months, they really should be having pretty decent head control, and especially on their tummy, being able to hold it up and look both directions.
For a time.
For a time, yeah. They're very interested in the world at that point.
And I would say one of the things that I give people with newborns the most often who are struggling with tummy time is just placing a hand on the baby's hips and giving a little bit of traction down towards their feet. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, that's okay. You can come in to Beyond Birth and we can hang out and learn. But if you do, you can try this with your baby. It's so gentle and
it's a great technique.
It's really helpful because the muscles that attach to the base of the skull also attach to the pelvis. And in that way, we can give the baby an advantage.
Yes, exactly. And it's just a gentle reminder of like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Let's talk about 3 months.
3 months, all the things that we already talked about, but also you should be seeing like a little bit more support under forearms.
So the elbows move forward throughout the first few months.
So they'll kind of be back here more, and then they're going to start to move more towards the shoulder.
And if you're listening and driving, back here means a little bit closer to the body, bent, and then forward as you go in the shoulders until the elbows are underneath the shoulders in tummy time.
Yep. And then really kind of pushing through those forearms, and you're seeing shoulder or scapular engagement a little bit more. And again, lifting their head up a little bit higher and looking around.
And they should love this position.
Oh, yes. They should love it because they get to see the world in this position because they're probably not quite mastered like rolling or started to. And this is a way they can observe the world rather than from their back.
And on their back, they can see the ceiling, the lights, whatever you hang above them. But on their tummy, with the ability to fully extend their head up, they can look all the way around 180 degrees. They can see across the room. Their vision is developing. They can follow you. And it is so unbelievably important for their brain development. So parents who tell me, oh, it's fine, I don't mind if they don't reach their milestones. It's not just about their physical development. It's about their brain.
Yes. It's all about their brain. I could argue. Yeah. It helps with so much.
Is that the title of our episode?
It's all about the brain.
It's all about the brain.
Yes. Yeah. And we don't have to go into details. I'm just saying there's a reason that we go through all these steps developing, and it's for the brain to coordinate and kind of integrate all these other things.
And I think a lot of people who are not physical therapists don't know that if you have a brain injury, your therapist will take you through these movements that you learned and that your brain did as an infant, figuring out first how to roll, then how to come onto hands and knees, then how to rock back and forth on hands and knees, and then how to move forward on hands and knees before you ever go to standing, especially if it's a one-sided brain injury. And it can be remarkable because our brains are wired for that type of movement.
Yeah, and it's what really helps it come back from that. Neuroplasticity is amazing.
It's amazing. Our brains are incredible. And just by seeing a physical therapist who specializes in infant development, I tell people all the time that, I mean, we love love pediatricians. They
Love them.
have
Yeah.
to know everything. They have to know everything.
But that's the thing. They have to know everything. And so you can't expect them to have like a fine lens in one thing like we do. And that's why other professions exist to help support with what they might be seeing, right? So if you have a concern as a parent, I always say trust your instinct. And even if your pediatrician says, nothing's wrong, like I'm not seeing anything, if you feel that, there's nothing wrong with reaching out to someone like a PT or an OT and just getting a second opinion and someone who specializes in infant development, I should say.
I know. I always tell people I'm so highly specialized. I know every single week of development until your baby is walking. I know exactly what I'm looking for. And that's why I have this job.
Right.
I don't have other physical therapy jobs. I mean, I do. I have pelvic floor for moms, but different.
Same realm.
I don't even see babies who are struggling with jumping and throwing. And it's a very, very different skill set. And it's why we exist, because this foundational development is so, so important for babies, every baby.
Yeah.
And pediatricians are looking for a medical emergency.
Yep.
They're looking for red flags. We're looking for yellow flags.
Yeah. And we're nitpicky.
We're really nitpicky. I can find something about every single one of your babies.
Yeah. And that being said, not every baby's going to need services either, but it's good to check it out if you have a question.
Totally.
But yeah, that's our job, is to nitpick.
And there's always
But also with room for what life is too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's always a way that you can optimize and help babies thrive. And I think that's where a lot of modern Western medicine gets it wrong, that there's so much prevention that we can do. And I know you mentioned prevention earlier.
Yeah.
That is so important. And it's really why we exist, because I was seeing so much in the hospital setting that was preventable if they had just had me in their living room.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's true. And that's why I love this profession in general, because it's a preventative method. Yeah.
A quick note on baby seats. So I know it's tempting to plop your 4-month-old into a little seat so that they can join you at the dinner table, but their little bodies are not designed to do that yet. Honestly, until they can roll, just lay them in the middle of the dining table as your beautiful centerpiece. Seriously, I did this. I know lots of families who've done this. And then when they're too wiggly, stick them on the floor. But when your baby is ready for supported sitting, or might need a little assistance to get strong in their trunk, for example, if they have lower muscle tone, the up seat is the one I would recommend. Unlike most seats that let babies just kind of chillax with a rounded spine, the up seat positions their pelvis in an anterior tilt. So that means they're sitting up on their sits bones just like we should all be. And that actually helps them build real trunk control and true strength in their core. It's safer, it's more supportive, and it lets them do the work their body needs to do to reach all of their developmental milestones. I'll drop a link in the show notes to the up seat so that you can get one if you need it. So we've talked all about tummy time.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what we said we were going to talk about and talk about containers.
Yes. Let's do that. We went on a tangent, but it's very applicable. And I think we got on that because we see babies not being put on their tummy. And that's because usually they're in containers. So let's talk about what is a container.
Yeah. So what is a container?
A container is basically anything that contains your child, your baby. But specific examples are stroller, car seat, walker, bouncy chair, jumper, baby carrier. All those things are considered
little swivel chairs.
Swivel chairs.
Bumbos.
Yeah, lots of things are considered a container. So I like to think just basically all the equipment that you own.
All the
for
things you
babies.
spent money on.
Yeah, all the things you spent money on. Not to say that they're all bad. There are some that are helpful. And especially being a busy parent, They can be very useful, but there's just some rules to kind of think about so that it doesn't turn into like you inhibiting skills.
Yeah. And Keri and I are both moms.
Yes.
I have 3 kids. Keri has 2 kids.
yeah.
We have been there. We had the equipment.
Yeah.
We used it. And
there's some that you don't want to use. But yeah, I mean, I get it. We get it as being moms. Like there's times where you just need your baby to be safe and in a place while you get something done. And if it's not an option for you to have a safe spot on the floor, which is the number one thing I recommend, then sometimes you might need to put them in a container.
so let's start by talking about how we use containers in a way that won't inhibit your baby's development. Because I know that so many of you are sitting there thinking, my baby's in the car seat right now.
Oh, yeah.
What do I do?
Yeah. Exactly. So car seat, obviously you have to use that to get place to place. That is a safety concern. But the general rule is every 2 hours, they should be out of the car seat. Like if you're doing a long road trip, every 2 hours you should be stopping to get them out so they have a little bit of movement. And then also with car seats, if you can do errands out of the car seat, so I recommend baby wearing instead of the car seat when you're just running into the store. That's what I recommend over that. But that being said, I also get it, like your baby just fell asleep and you're like, I want them to keep sleeping, but I have to do these errands, right? Or I have to pick up my kid from school. That is okay. Like you can keep them in, if they don't transition out into a carrier, like if you need to just run in and run out and keep them in the stroller car seat, it's not the end of the world. You just want to make sure your car seat is fitting appropriately,
And I think one thing that I see a lot is those, not to like name any names, but the Doona, the one that turns into a car seat and then it turns right into a stroller, and then your baby can be in there for hours.
Yeah, and it's super convenient, and you forget about it because you're have a busy day where you're going around all the time, and it's easy. It pops in and out. I have a Doona. We got it for traveling, and now my husband uses it for his car seat in his car. But even with that one, if you can take them out in baby wear instead, or break up your errands a little bit, just be cognizant of how long they've been in it for, and if it's been more than 2 hours, you got to get them out.
Yeah. I think too, you mentioned baby wearing as a container and as a solution.
Yes, so, I know. It's the tricky one.
It's tricky.
I will say of all the containers, yes, baby wearing falls into that because you are containing your child, but it doesn't follow all the same rules as the other containers because there's more that the child can do in it. Like baby is working on head control and that they are working on their vestibular system because they're moving with you as you're moving. They're working on their trunk control and hip positioning. But we should talk about how you place your baby in the carrier, because that is the biggest thing I see, is that everyone's like, oh, you should just baby wear, but no one really talks about how you should baby wear. And I feel like I see that often just out in the street.
So just watch a YouTube video and you'll be fine. But I will say, we have a video for you of me putting on a wrap that can be really helpful, that shows you the appropriate way to position your baby in there. So look for that in the show notes. I'll make sure to link to it for you.
Yeah. And I think just the biggest thing to keep in mind with any carrier is you're just looking for knees above hips when they're in it. So they're in an M position and that they're not leaning to one side. And if you're front wearing, that they're like the top of the carrier doesn't go past the lower part of their ear, as well as you're able to kiss the top of their head. Those are just some of the general things to look for.
I love that. So that was, their hips should be in an M position. The top of the carrier should not go past their ear. And they should be kissing distance.
Yeah, kissing distance from like your chest. So you could just bend down and kiss the top of their head. That's usually a good distance.
What if you're wearing them in a wrap and the wrap kind of goes over their head so that the ear is
You want to make sure that the airway is still clear so that they can breathe. Oh, and also I feel like I have to just say this because it comes up. If you are wearing your baby where they're on the front facing outward, please, if they fall asleep, turn them back around. That is a safety asphyxiation concern. And I've had questions like that. So I just wanted to throw that out.
Totally.
Yeah. It's fine to wear them facing out when they're developmentally appropriate, usually 6-ish months. But if they fall asleep, you make sure you turn them so that they're facing you because you can't monitor them the other way.
I love that. Great advice. Thank you.
Yeah. I could talk about baby wearing forever.
I know. Okay. Whole episode on baby wear.
Yeah.
So we've talked about the car seat. We've talked about the car seat that turns into a stroller. We've talked about baby wearing. What about just your typical stroller? Are there any strollers that are better than others?
No, ideally the bassinet style for a stroller in the early days is the best because they are able to stretch out, move their arms, their legs, roll around. Now, when they start sitting, that's usually recommended they don't be in that. I have seen people still use it, but that, that's up to you. But ideally for those first few months, the bassinet is going to be the best option.
And the bassinet is the best option because it's flat. So
exactly.
It's like having your baby flat on the floor while you're on a walk in a stroller.
Yeah. And if your baby doesn't mind movement while they can be on their tummy, that's like bonus tummy time.
Bonus tummy time.
Yeah.
But always strap your baby down.
Yeah, that's true.
Always. Let's move on to other containers that your in-laws might try to buy you for Christmas.
Oh, yeah. One that I get questions a lot are like anything that will help them stand up. So I can't think of specific brands right now, but like walkers and things like that. I have a really hard time supporting a walker, which we don't have to get into that right now, but
maybe we should.
Maybe.
What do you mean by walker? I think that's important for people to understand.
What I mean by walker, I'm talking about the ones where your baby is placed inside of like a harness sling thing, and they either are just standing or it usually has wheels and they're able to walk around. And people get those because they're like, oh, my baby is upright. They're learning to walk. But I'll say usually people are putting them in those way too early when the baby is not developmentally ready for that position. And also the ones with wheels are safety concern.
I fell down the stairs in one when I was a baby.
Exactly. Yeah. And actually, I think in a lot of other countries, they're banned.
They're not legal.
They're not legal, but we still have them here. So those are some major, just safety concerns, not even developmentally.
Well, and the developmental concern with that is that your hips are in a very different position.
Yes.
And your toes are touching the ground, and it is teaching you that the way that you engage with the ground is with
through your toes. And when I worked with older kiddos, I did see a few kiddos who walked on their toes, and a lot of them were in things like that where they were up on their toes.
Like an exersaucer is the same thing, even if it's not moving.
Yes, that's what I mean. So developmentally, they shouldn't even really be in anything to help support standing until at least 7 months. That's typically...
I'd say never.
Well, yeah, I know. But I'm saying if you're going to use it, this is what I remember. If you really feel like you have to use one, look for one that has a platform base. Like the skip hop is a good one because their feet can actually touch a surface.
If they're tall enough.
And if not, you can elevate the surface so that their feet can touch. And I recommend waiting till at least 7 months before you do that. Or just never, like Emily said. But I understand, like, if that's something you choose to use, there's just better ways you can use it.
Yeah. We kind of skipped ahead to standing, but let's talk about a bouncer.
Oh, yes. Like the bouncer chairs. They can be a great thing to just set your baby down for a moment or
Can I ask you an honest question?
Yeah.
Did you have one?
I did have one. I do have one. She's not using it anymore. My baby is 6 months now, but
So did I.
yeah, I used it. But again, I used it mainly for when we were having a meal with my toddler, and so they were kind of engaging a little bit. I used it just maybe to take I didn't, but I know other people who've used it to just maybe take a shower or do something for a moment. There's certain ones that are better than others, the ones that you can change the recline position.
How long should you leave your baby in one of those?
As short as possible, but I recommend no more than 15 minutes, just because that's a lot of time being constrained. It might not seem like it. 15 minutes goes by fast, but in a baby's world, that's a long time. Like, think about how long their wake windows are. That's a fraction of the time. So.
Yeah. The other container that I really wanted to make time to talk about was the seats. We see a lot of babies who are sat before they're developmentally ready to be sat. So let's talk about that.
Yeah. So there's a few different seats out there. I think the most common one I hear is the Bumbo. Bumbo? Yeah. And they sit them in because they want to interact. They want a surface to sit. I get that. But developmentally, you don't really want to place your baby in a sitting position until they're kind of ready to do that, which is typically not until like 5-ish, 6 months.
And this is for typically developing babies.
Yes.
If you have a baby who is delayed, there may be different things that your providers are telling you, and listen to them.
Right.
But
Exactly, yeah, because there are different scenarios. Like we talked about tone earlier, there might be something where they need a little more support, and then there's different ones that are better for. But if you're in that situation, you should be listening to your people helping you. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think there's also, I don't want to like rat out any other brands, but the Bumbo has one style that I don't know if they make anymore that is rounded on the bottom. And that puts your baby into a posterior pelvic tilt, tucks their pelvis under, and allows them to just kind of hang on their joints. They don't have to have any trunk strength to sit there.
Exactly. And the Bumbo did do a remake. And so the newer ones, so if you get the one with the tray, that one is actually the better version. But I know a lot of times, you get hand-me-down ones and things like that. And so most of the time it is in that posterior.
And there's a physical therapist who made one called the Up Seat, which I'll link to. It puts your baby into an anterior pelvic tilt, which is the opposite, which is exactly where we want them to be challenged in their sitting posture. I have to say this. There are a lot of babies who are not yet rolling, who get fussy, and then their parents will pick them up and sit them, and they stop fussing. And those babies are genius babies because
they're so smart.
Because they're letting you know my brain requires being able to see my environment in order to develop. But because they are not comfortable in tummy time, they've learned a way to get you to put them into a more functional position.
Yep.
So those are babies who I would never sit.
Yeah. We call them happy sitters in my professional line of work, because they're like content. They can interact in that. But if they never practice the rolling skills, transitioning in and out of sitting is going to be very challenging for them. And then going up to higher skills is going to be harder. So it feels like, oh, they love this position. I understand why you want to just keep putting them in it, because you want your baby to be happy. But you need to let them figure out the other way.
Yeah, we need to let them be functionally frustrated.
But yeah, that is a great phrase.
I just came up with it.
Functionally frustrated. I'm going to use that because, I'm always like, your baby's tears. And I like to, if you're learning a new skill, sometimes you get frustrated and you say things. Babies are the same way. They're just a little bit louder and don't have words.
And we love their communication.
And we do. And sometimes, though, you need to like let them be frustrated. Yeah.
A lot of time with tummy time, I will allow a baby to be frustrated for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we go back onto the back and then we try again. It's not a one-time trial.
And it's not just placing it back and sitting. It's, okay, we'll start over. We'll start in a different position.
Maybe make it a little easier.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes if they're not loving on the ground tummy time, then I'll elevate them up a little bit with my hands and then slowly work our way back down. So you can meet a baby where it's at.
Yeah. I have 2 more questions before we wrap up. The first is tummy time on the ground versus a bed.
Ooh, the bed is actually going to be harder because it is a like cushy surface, which is more challenging. And on the floor, it's firmer, so it's a little bit easier. And then the bed, also, there's always the risk of them accidentally falling off, rolling off.
I would say also, imagine trying to do a push-up on a bed.
Yes.
Versus doing a push-up on the ground. Now imagine doing 20 push-ups on a bed.
Exactly. Which is basically what they're doing.
Yeah,
So
it's really hard
It's more
work.
tiring. You might feel safer because it's like, oh, it's a cushy surface. But I would recommend getting like one of those foam floor mats that are firm, but on the ground.
The bed will also encourage your baby to lay their head down and not work that hard.
Yeah, because it's cozy.
The second question is, how often should people be doing tummy time? For how long? These are the things that parents are Googling in the middle of the night.
Yes, great question. I like to say start off to tolerance, like put them down, but keep trying throughout the day. Ideally, you want to get at least 30 minutes throughout the day.
At first.
Then after that, as much time as you can. Honestly, I'm like 30 minutes, and then after that, get as much as you can. So I don't know what you recommend. Yeah.
I think everyone has a different recommendation, and I probably recommend something different to every baby and every family.
It's very individual based, and I take into consideration like what their environment is, what their household is like, what seems plausible.
Totally.
I usually, if I'm seeing someone, I usually recommend like you're doing 15 to 20 minutes of purposeful play a day for sure, but that's not just tummy time.
One sort of broad recommendation that I give that really helps families, I think, with understanding how to use this skill throughout the day is that if you think about every time you change your baby's diaper, they're clean, they're happy, and then you roll them over onto their tummy and look at them on the changing table for as long as they will tolerate, then you're doing something great. And it's probably accumulating to 30 minutes a day.
Yeah, that's a great thing. I do a lot of things during diaper time because it's just you're changing diapers all the time.
It's like it's habit stacking. It's really helpful to do something at the same time as a habit that you already have.
Yep, exactly. I do also just want to throw in real quick. In addition to tummy time, because we talked a lot about tummy time, which is so great, it is beneficial to also do some sideline time on the floor too.
And backline time.
So just because we're like hyping tummy time, don't forget all the other positions. But I think sideline is one that most people don't think about because it's not talked about. But having your baby lay on their side for a little bit is great.
It's so nice.
Just like a few minutes at a time and then just alternate to the other side. Yeah.
And I think the idea of purposeful play is so important, and we should probably do an entire episode on that.
Yeah, you could. You can do episodes. We've got like 5 episodes we've thought of, okay?
But just knowing that every single moment that no pressure, but every single moment that you are interacting with your baby, their brain is developing. You are giving them information in whatever position they're in. And I think one of the risks of having your baby in a container, it's not only that their development will be delayed, but it's that they might have torticollis. They might have a tight neck, tight shoulders, tight hips. And with a tight neck, when they have a head turn preference, putting them in a container is going to perpetuate that every single time. And no amount of time outside of that is going to make up for it.
Right.
So really intentionally making sure that your baby seems comfortable in their body is going to reward you with a less frustrated baby, a baby who sleeps better, and a baby who can happily explore their environment.
Yes. Beautifully said.
Thank you.
That was great. Loved it.
I just had to share, one of our clients that Keri saw is like my star client, because Keri said something about no containers, and this mom took that so seriously. She got a little tent and a little mat, and everywhere she went to a restaurant, she had her little tent and her mat for her baby.
Love it.
She went to a park with her 2 older kids, a little tent and a mat for her baby.
Yes.
And it is so amazing to see how far her baby has come.
I love that, because it does not have to be just in your home.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to put your baby on the floor, on a blanket, outside. It's, that's the big thing.
Huge.
I love that.
Well, thank you, Keri. Your clients love you.
Oh, thanks. I love them. They keep me thinking.
And I really appreciate you being willing to take the time to talk to me and to be willing to share all of your amazing expertise.
Thank you. It's been fun to talk about it.
All right, Keri, well, have a great day.
Thanks, you as well.
Bye.
Bye.
This was such a good conversation. And I hope as we're wrapping up here that you're feeling a little more confident and a little less pressure to get it perfect. I know that sometimes when I come into a space, people can feel like they're not doing enough. And that's never my intention. If there is one takeaway I want you to walk away with, it's this. Baby development does not require more stuff. It doesn't require containers. It doesn't require the latest trends. It requires thoughtful support, time on the floor, connection, eye contact, and trust in your baby's innate ability to learn and adapt. And if something feels hard or confusing, or if your baby's not responding in a way that you feel is right, that doesn't mean that you are doing anything wrong. It just means that your baby, based on their birth history, based on how they were positioned inside your body throughout your pregnancy, it just means that your baby might need a little extra support. And that's okay. Early movement, positioning, and regulation matter not just for physical milestones, but for brain development, cognitive development, fine motor development, nervous system regulation, and long-term function. We're trying to set these babies up for lives in bodies that feel easy and open and capable of moving. So if you ever feel like something is off, you are allowed to ask questions. You should seek a second opinion and work with professionals who specialize in infant development. My goal in sharing this information with you is always to empower you, not to make you feel like you're not doing enough. So if I ever miss the mark, please tell me. And as always, if this episode was helpful, leave us a review. Every time you do, you make it more and more possible for the families who need to hear this stuff to actually hear it. If you want to learn more about how we support babies and families throughout the world at Be Well Baby, you can find us at bewellbaby.org. Thanks for being here. Thanks for caring so deeply about your babies, and I'll see you next week. New episodes drop every Wednesday, and you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. Follow me on Instagram at BeWellBabyPDX, or just visit bewellbaby.org. Send an episode to someone who's pregnant, postpartum, or just needs guidance. No one should have to do this alone. Welcome to the Be Well Baby podcast. You're in the right place.